Hello, friends and lovers. Welcome back. We're on to patch 3 for Hades 2. This is the third patch for the early access for Hades 2, of course. And we're going to go over the notes that we have listed here. There was a lot to get over, so let's dive right into it. I'm going to talk about how I feel about the changes because I have played a bit of the patch, and I'll tell you my thoughts as we go, and I'll sum something up toward the end of the video too, if that's what you're interested in. Anyway, this patch improves numerous Olympian boons to further enhance core combat and related choices. It also adds new UI icons, cauldron incantations, and more. Though we'll continue monitoring your feedback, we're now focusing on our first major update slated for later this year. Thank you for playing. And this icon here indicates that it's inspired by community feedback. Okay, many duo boons and some legendary boons should be offered more frequently, first and foremost. I do wonder what exactly they meant by that. I'm not certain they increased the percent chance of it, but it could be they loosened the requirements. I know for Golden Rule in particular, they made it easier to get. The prerequisites aren't as harsh anymore. I know that. Charon's gold rewards now include Nightmare after a certain point. So that means you can use your membership cards to get Nightmare at the hub. So that's really important because Nightmare is really hard to get, or was really hard to get beforehand. Reworked gathering tool upgrades now let you find +1 elemental essence for your infusion boon. So that's kind of a big deal to get more elements. So you're going to have to actually get that meta progression stuff in the run to try to get you more elements. I actually have to read that, to be honest, in the game to see what it says. Entering chaos while in the morning fields no longer causes you to skip a location in that region. Ooh. Oh, the speedrunners are crying on the inside. Well, it's a big hit to time, but it's a bonus to RNG, I guess, where you don't have to rely on that happening anymore, at least. Yeah, that was often abused by speedrunners in order to skip an entire location there. Slightly increase the minimum number of boons and similar awards you can find past Erebus. I'm not actually certain what they mean by that one. Warding circles in Erebus now stagger foes that touch them. All right, a few things on the aspects. Circe, indirect damage from Omega moves now contributes to activating Serenity. I'm going to be honest, from just reading this, because I have not tried this in particular, I have no idea what it's trying to say. I don't know what it's trying to indicate here by saying this. Does this help charge the Serenity? It shouldn't. From the description of Circe, does it somehow help activate Serenity if it's a fully charged? I don't know. I really don't know. Artemis, for the blades, you now are immune to hit stun effects during riposte. So I think that means that Kronos, for instance, can't stun you with his swings. Eos, improved Omega attack tracking, though slightly increased magic cost, and reduced max damage from the upgrade path. Attack sequence now continues after using it. Probably necessary, but I haven't actually tried this in particular yet. I do know that the damage went from 200 to 150 on the Daybreaker, and it sounds fair from the description on this. It sounds like this is pretty useful because I just hated how bad the tracking was on it. Aspect of Persephone, now any cast damage, not just Omega cast damage, extends your Omega special. Really nice upgrade to this, especially when you see all of the cast changes here in the patch. The casts are getting out of control here already. Forgot the music. Don't worry, I got the music now. Okay, Altar of Ashes, rearranged grasp costs and positions of several cards. You may need to reset your Arcana loadout. So there's actually a lot of changes here. And why don't I quickly just show you, like, I'll just mouse over everything. Source is the same, Wayward Sun is the same. The Huntress now it only costs 2 instead of 3 Arcana, which is a bit of a surprise. The Knight has been kind of renamed, or the names have switched around. And now that's up here. The Moon is new. Your Hex also charges up automatically as though you use 3 magic every 1 second. Well, it's not new per se, but it is now an Awakening card that costs 0. So to awaken it, you just need to activate any of these 3 cards. So that's actually kind of a big deal for the Hexes, I think, here, to make them more easily charged, I guess. It's kind of a subtle buff to Hexes, I think, because you're going to have that on very often, I think. Death has changed now. Your Omega moves have plus 15% chance to deal critical damage if your last one was different. So your last Omega move has to be different, is the way I understand it. So this is actually tough with a lot of aspects where you're probably wanting to spam 1 Omega move, but for certain ones, it's quite good, I guess, at least. The Unseen got a buff, so now it's 6 magic every 1 second instead of 4. The Messenger kind of got a nerf, but only costs 1 now, and it's in a different spot. Plus 5% dodge. Titan is the same, Furies is the same, Swift Runner is the same, Eternity is the same, Centaur is the same. Origination has been moved, and it now costs 5 grasp. The Lovers, I think it costs 3. No, actually, I think it used to cost 2. Now it costs 3 and has been moved a little bit. The Queen is the same. Excellence is the same. Artificer now only costs 3 grasp and has been moved a bit. So that makes it quite a bit of a contender. That's a really huge buff in terms of the grasp cost here. Everything else about it is the same. These 4 cards are all the same. Strength now only costs 4 and has been moved down here. Divinity, this is the same. Judgment, it's the same. Oh, well, we'll talk about it when we get to the note, but Divinity can now be activated by a column or a row now. Okay, but let's get back to the notes now that I tried to cover that quickly, because there's a lot to go over here, honestly. Okay, so, it kind of tells you a lot of this stuff here, but you're kind of better off just looking inside the game for it. So I guess we could probably skip over a lot of this. Yeah, I think we can skip over all this stuff, because I think we went over it, and there were more things than even what was said here, I think, when you just look around it. Oh, one big thing, I guess, or semi-big thing is, for origination, now specifies that curses from different Olympians are required. This is relevant to Demeter, whose Cyclone is now considered a curse along with her freeze. So in other words, you have to have 2 curses from different gods, so you can't have Cyclone and freeze activate origination, I'm afraid. It's the mildest nerf to, I guess, Demeter, but it's not that bad, I think. Okay, at the Cauldron. Temporal fluctuation lets time slow effects such as phase shift from Selene work versus Chronos. That's very good. That's very good. The Sorceress Arcana card also works against Chronos once you have this incantation too. That's big, honestly. Circles of the Moon, activating warning circles and Erebus, fully charges your Hex. Ashen Memories of Life. Whenever you claim Rewards of Ash, slightly raise your life limit. It is 5 max health, by the way. Whenever you claim Rewards of Psyche, slightly raise your magic. That is 3 magic. Bones of Burnished Bronze. Whenever you claim Rewards of Bones, gain some armor. I think it's 5 armor? I'm pretty sure. Nectar of the Godly Savor. Whenever you claim Rewards of Nectar, gain +1 level for a random boon. So just like Hades 1, basically. The meta stuff is going to feel a little bit better. And you might want to go out of your way to get it a little bit more than you used to. I haven't totally confirmed this, but it's probably like Hades 1, where you don't buy the meta currencies and still get this bonus. It says whenever you claim Rewards of Bones, for instance, right? So, like in Hades 1, if you bought a nectar from a shop, you wouldn't get a random level out of it. I'm not positive that's the case in Hades 2 yet, though. Keepsakes, White Antler, oh no. Now provides critical bonus for 1 region, and it's 10% less at max, but reduces your life limit. So what does that mean? It's only active for 1 zone, and it reduces your health to 30. Your max health will be 30. There is no changing it while you have this Keepsake on, as far as I can tell. And it's 30% crit rate, I'm afraid. Yeah, so a big hit to the speedrunners, but I don't think anyone outside of speedrunning really cares that much. So, kind of whatever, I guess. Silken Sash, you no longer lose your armor from this if you switch to a different Keepsake. I'm surprised that wasn't a bug, because they have a list of bug fixes. I'm kind of surprised that was intended at the time. Moonbeam now also causes Selene or a Path of Stars to be offered soon. Olympian Keepsakes are now even more likely to make their respective Olympian boons appear. Now, supposedly, this means you cannot get Selene in the first chamber if you're using an Olympian Keepsake when you start a run, which is kind of a big deal. Now, that's not clear from the description here, I feel, but supposedly that's how that works. That's what one person claimed, at least. I haven't played enough to really say that for sure yet, though. Okay, Boons and Blessing, this is where most of the changes are. There is a lot. I'll try not to pause too much unless I think it's very important. Okay. Heaven Strike from Zeus, that's his attack. Increased a bonus from Palms of Power. Heaven Flourish, which is the special, also increased the Blitz damage when using Palms. Storm Ring now deals damage from all casts, not just the Omega. So you get the bolt damage from your regular cast there as well on Storm Ring. Ionic Cane reworked and now spawns an Ether Font nearby that fully restores magic when used. It's actually really good. I think that one's actually quite good. And I think at common it's like a 10-second cooldown before it spawns again. But the thing is, it takes a while to use all your magic. I think it's actually quite good at a glance. Spirit Surge increased a bonus from Palms of Power. Double Strike increased effect, chance, and bonus from Palms, renamed from Second Strike. Kind of weird they went back and forth on that one. Yeah, they increased this a lot. I think common is 10%, epic is 20% on Double Strike now. Shocking Loss increased effect chance now activates when foes first take damage. I believe the chance is 20% now on that. Glorious Disaster, reduced damage, fixed magic, not deducting correctly. I actually kind of got to look at this one. Why don't we look at that one? Because I actually don't remember what Glorious Disaster is. But that is Apollo, I believe. You can channel plus 30 magic into your Omega cast to repeatedly strike foes with lightning bolts. Bolt damage is 25. Okay. I kind of got to read it again now. So it got nerfed a little bit. Fixed magic not deducting correctly. Sounds like that one got a mild nerf, interestingly. I haven't played that one yet. Apocalyptic Storm is gone. That was like the Blitz one that would trigger... It would make your Blitz effects trigger on all enemies or something. So that's gone. Now we have Hailstorm. Your freeze effects also cause lightning bolts to strike afflicted foes. I think it's pretty good. I think that one's pretty good. I had it. Master Conductor increased damage. It went from like 15% to 20% or something. Hera, slaying a foe now can afflict them with the Hitch Curse and spread that damage accordingly. I'm a little confused what they're trying to say with that. I guess maybe they're trying to say Hitch in general has changed slightly? I'm not really positive. So Hera's attack, increased bonus from palms. Hera's special, increased bonus from palms. Engagement ring, big change here. Now also inflicts Hitch when dealing damage, though reduced direct damage to compensate. No longer increases cast duration. I think it's really good, but it's hard for me to totally tell, honestly. I think it's really good, inflicting Hitch on everything as they spawn and dealing a little bit of damage. It is a little bit less. I think that should be quite good now. Nexus Sprint now damages and inflicts Hitch on unafflicted foes. Yeah, so now that the Sprint actually deals a little bit of damage. Born Gain, I'm afraid, got nerfed pretty bad. I think Common before was 10 magic, now it's 20. And I think at Epic, for Born Gain, I think it's 16. So therefore probably 14 at Heroic. Epic before was, I think, only 6. So basically everything got increased by 10. You can still palm it and everything. The thing is, it's still a really good boon, even in this state, I think. It's just using at a common 0 palm level might go kind of badly for you. I don't know. It's still not bad. It's still not bad, for sure. And they buff some other magic things, so I think it's actually kind of fair. Keen Intuition is gone. Bloodline. Your Omega moves also create a damaging rift for an added magic cost. This one's kind of interesting. It adds a little bolt of lightning that can hit the enemies, but all your Omegas cost more magic, I'm afraid. Bridal Glow, boons that are already heroic can no longer be chosen for this, okay. Soulmate, cut from the game, has been replaced with Ecstatic Obsession. So this was Aphrodite's old legendary. One foe always has charm, and you just have to have at least 2 enemies in the encounter in order for this to trigger. That's it. Cherished Heirloom, increased power level when upgrading max rank keepsakes. It's hard to compare that to what it used to be, but I did get it once, and I think I get that it's better, but I don't know exactly where. It's not like the largest increase. It's kind of whatever, honestly, still, is how I would describe it. Funeral Pyre is gone, I'm afraid. I think that's the one that would apply Scorch when you use your Omega moves near enemies. Instead, now you got Elementary Particles, and this one is insane. Gain +1 for each elemental essence, and an infusion boon for it. Yes, you read that right. You will get 4 infusion boons when you get this duo, and 1 element of each. And there's more changes to the infusion boons later. It is absolutely crazy, honestly. Wave Strike from Poseidon, that's the attack, I believe. Yeah. Increased bonus from Palms of Power. Tidal Ring. So this is new. This is Poseidon's new cast boon. The old one is gone, to be clear. Your cast also immediately hit foes in front of you with a splash. The base damage is quite high. I think it's 90 at common. So when you drop your cast, normal or Omega, it will deal like 90 damage or whatever you have in front of you and inside of the cast, basically all at once. And instead, now there's a tier 2 boon that you can get afterwards here. Hello, Grampy. You want to say hi? Mwah. Good boy, Grampy. And now there's a tier 2 boon. If you have any cast, by the way. That's how Geyser Spout works. You just need a cast boon. Well, it kind of says it. Now a second tier cast boon, renamed from Geyser Ring. So yeah, Geyser Spout will make it so that your Omega cast immediately triggers, and you can have it with any of the cast boons from any god as well. But you just do need a cast boon in order for it to appear. Crashing Wave is gone. Instead, we have Splash Fount. This one's kind of odd. Your Omega moves also create a watery blast near the first damaged foe. I think the base damage at Epic was like 70, I think I saw. I'm kind of not certain about this one. It's kind of weird, and I don't know how to feel about it. I don't know if it's really that great, to be honest. Maybe it has some cool stuff. Your Omega moves also create a watery blast near the first damaged foe. So it's not great for rapid hitting Omega moves, like, say, the Omega special with the daggers. You'd want to have it with an aspect where you're spamming Omegas, just like over again. Yeah, I'm not sure. Ocean's Bounty is now merged with Sunken Treasure, which was removed as a standalone boon. Thank God, huh? Thank God. Yeah, it was like too many boons, kind of. There. Water Fitness. Effect now scales with each water essence. So this is mostly a nerf, probably, but it just feels better now. So you're probably going to end up with less max health from it, but it's just easier to get going, and it just feels better to get than, like, never activating it, I guess you could say. Because I think I had 4, 5, or 6 waters, and I only got 90 health out of it, but still, it just felt better. It just felt better. King Tide, increased size bonus and damage bonus. That's the legendary. It went from 150% to 200%, I believe. Beach Ball, increased damage. That's their duo boon. Really nice changes to the duos here. I think it was only 140 before, and now it's 300. Really nice. Natural Selection, increased chance of improved rarity. That's the boon that gives you higher rarity boons and makes it so you kind of only see boons in the future. And it went from like 15% to 45%. It went up a lot. Scalding Vapor, increased damage. It went from like 25 to 30 for Steam. Kind of surprised that got buffed. Nova Strike, increased bonus from rarity and Palms of Power. So that's Apollo's attack. Solar Ring, reworked, and now inflicts daze and deals a burst of damage. So yeah, Apollo's cast now. Yeah, it inflicts daze, and it deals damage immediately. Not dissimilar to Poseidon's here. Of course, you can still get the Omega cast damage too if you choose to use it. Prominence Flare. So yes, the old Solar Ring is gone, I'm afraid, if you loved it. But you can kind of get it back. Prominence Flare, now a second tier cast boon renamed from the earlier Solar Ring. So, Prominence Flare is basically the old Solar Ring, and you can have it with any cast now. So basically, once your Omega cast explodes, if you have Prominence Flare, that will create that big explosion of damage that like ticks up for like 10 damage every 0.1 seconds or whatever it is. So I kind of like the change. I'll miss old Solar Ring. It was kind of like a good go-to, but I think this is actually a pretty good choice. Lucid Gain has been reworked. It now restores magic if you are standing in your cast when they expire. I kind of like it. I think it's kind of interesting. It doesn't have to be an Omega cast. I think it was like 50 magic at common. I think that's pretty good. I just like that they're making it a bit different. Perfect Image has been reworked. Damage bonus now resets if you avoid taking damage for a duration. Used to be for the whole room, right? Torrential Downpour has been cut and has been replaced with Boreal Gust. While standing in cyclones, you randomly fire damaging gales. It's like 70 damage per gale. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I mean, you like the cyclone, so I think this boon's going to come up pretty often, and it's definitely not bad. I actually don't remember what Torrential Downpour is off the top of my head, but I think it had to do with the cast, or a cast in some way. I'm not positive. Stellar Slam is gone, I'm afraid. That's the one that increased the area, and it should be gone. It wasn't good enough. Instead, we have Rude Awakening. Hephaestus's Blast, clear daze and deal more damage. It's 220 damage if you clear daze on an enemy. And I don't think it says it, but I thought it increased. Oh, no, it does not increase the area. Never mind. So it's 220. So, for instance, you can apply daze with Apollo's new cast, and then you can have like Hephaestus's attack boon or dash boon. That works too. Clear the daze and deal a bunch of bonus damage, really. I think it's quite fun. I think it could be quite fun. I haven't actually had it yet. I tried, though. Tranquil Gain now restores magic based on a percentage of your current total. Little confusing, but it's actually, they're saying it's based on your total magic. Not current total, your total magic. So if you have 100 magic, it's actually a percentage. It's 40% at common. So that means you'll get 40 magic per second until you get back to full. So mostly a buff, because now it scales with your max magic better than it used to. So it's pretty much a buff at every instance. But, I mean, I still don't like the boon. Gale Force. Your cast cyclone now can follow you if you also have local climate. Frosty Veneer now scales with water essence rather than earth, renamed from Coarse Grit. So this is the old Coarse Grit and requires water instead of earth. Simple as that. That's the one that makes it so that every instance of damage can't do more than 15. Freezer Burn. This one's really, really good, by the way. Reworked, inflicting freeze on a foe with Scorch deals damage and removes the Scorch. So it's like the old fire extinguisher from Hestia, but it actually increases the Scorch damage by 200%. This is insane. This is incredibly good. It is possibly too good. So whatever Scorch you have on the enemy, as far as I understand it, it should deal triple whatever you have on them. And you don't really have to build it up, because if you have like Demeter's Cast, throw that down, just inflict Scorch whatever ways that you have, and you're just dealing a lot of damage quickly. It's really, really good. Aphrodite, increased power and duration of her weak curse. I actually haven't read that exactly. Increased power, huh? I haven't read that in the game. Rapture Ring now deals damage as it drags foes in. It's pretty good. It's pretty good now that it deals damage. I like it. Passion Rush is now reworked. Now deals damage when you press dash, and again when you stop pressing dash, renamed from Passion Dash. Not much to say about it. It's kind of just okay. Slightly better, I think. Glamour Gain now makes all nearby foes weak rather than one randomly. That's really good, I think. I think that's actually quite good. It's just much easier to use now. You don't have to rely on being next to that one particular enemy. It's the same amount of magic regen, but I think that actually helps it quite a bit. Shameless Attitude, reworked. The damage bonus doubles if you haven't lost much life. It's 80%, I think, at common, I'm gonna guess. So this is good because you get like 15% bonus damage or whatever it is, and then that could potentially be doubled if you have a lot of health. Current health, that is. Wispy Wilds, which is the infusion boon from Afro. Effect now scales with each air essence. I'm going to say it's 4% dodge per air, but I'm not positive on the number. Heartthrobs from Aphrodite now spawn behind and no longer detonate in obstacles. That's kind of a big deal for an effect that was already very strong for Aphrodite, I think. So made Heartthrobs even better. New legendary for Aphrodite, Nervous Wreck. Inflicting weak also inflicts other random curses. Now, you might think like, oh man, it's like one more curse for each. It's 3. It's 3 random curses every time you inflict weak. It's crazy, huh? I haven't been able to try it yet, but I'm really curious about it and how it feels, you know what I mean? Because I don't know what to think about it at a first glance. It sounds good, but I wonder if it's actually that meaningful. Soft Caress is gone. That's the one that restored health when you got hit or something? Yeah, the first time you get hit. Instead, now we have Love Handles. Hephaestus's blasts also create Heartthrobs. That's actually pretty good. The Heartthrob damage is kind of set, I think, at like 120. But you could combine this with the other duo boon that gives you more Heartthrobs and could be pretty good, right? Burning Desire is gone. I think that's the one that gave you more shades or something like that. I think so. In a chamber, yeah, good luck, right? Instead, we have Hot Flash. Scorch does not diminish as it deals damage to weak foes. I think it's pretty good. I think it's pretty good. We haven't even gotten to the big Scorch stuff yet, but I think that's pretty good. Is it amazing? Not amazing. I think it's pretty good, though. Hephaestus improved activation speed of the Vent Curse. So the Vent Curse from Furnace Blast now takes 4 seconds to activate instead of 5. Volcanic Flourish, improved blast recharge time. I believe it's 16 seconds at common now instead of 20. Not certain how it scales off the top of my head, though. Anvil Ring no longer reduces the cast size. Really happy about that. Fine Tuning, significantly increased a bonus to upgraded aspects. I actually got to try this, and it was pretty silly with the one instance I tried it, but it was hard to understand. So your aspect will still only go to rank 6 if you're already rank 5, but I guess it's just even better than before? I don't know. Tough Trade is gone. That's the one where you deal more damage if you took a hit in the middle of attacking. Instead, we have Hephaestus's blast become bigger and stronger. Oh, sorry, Grand Caldera. I think it's at common 50 more damage per blast, and it's a 50% bigger area. I think that's nice. I think that feels a lot more interesting. Plus, Hef kind of needed more things to scale the blast damage, I think, personally. Chain Reaction. Timing to activate the multi-blast effect now is less restrictive. It used to be like 0.85 seconds you had to get the blast back, but now it's 2 seconds, so it's way more lenient. Hestia, increased damage rate of the Scorch Curse. Oh my god, it's so good. It's so good. So it used to be 40 damage per second is what you deal with Scorch. Now it's 80. They doubled it. 'Tis doubled. Boom. Boom. Flame Strike. Hestia's attack, increased Scorch damage. Flame Flourish, increased bonus from palms. Smoldering, increased Scorch damage. Controlled Burn, increased damage. Glowing Coal, increased damage. Not Some of these are not very meaningful, but they are better still. Hearthgate has been reworked. Now restores magic when you hit with your attack or special. So honestly, Hearthgate is probably slightly worse in most instances here, because there's probably not a lot of instances where you care about regenerating magic when you're only using your regular attack or special. It's not Omegas, to be clear. At least that's not how it's described. So if you're using a rapid hitting weapon like the dagger, it'll be okay. But for everything else, it's pretty bad, to be honest, I think. It's pretty bad, but I kind of like that it's a bit different, I guess. Pyrotechnique is no longer the legendary and now can scale with rarity and palms of power. I think I commented 50% faster tick rate on Scorch, so that's good, right? Fire extinguisher is gone. Instead, now we have highly flammable. Inflicting Scorch on a foe for the first time inflicts more. Wait, that's new? Oh, yeah, it's like... Oh, I don't remember. I think it might be 100 more Scorch. I don't remember what rarity that was that I saw it, though. I'm not sure. Yeah, we've seen it before. Spontaneous combustion is gone. That was one where you did, like... You applied more Scorch if you use your Omega Special. It's very particular. Instead, now we have a new legendary, which is Firewalk. You take minimal fire damage and leave flames where you sprint. I haven't tried it, but I think I need to show this one because it's interesting. It's interesting how they describe it. I know there's a lot more stuff, but I'm going to leave it to y'all to go look it up. There's a lot more stuff to go over if you actually open the codex. You take no more than 1 damage at a time from fire and leave flames where you sprint. Flame trail damage is 20. So it's not Scorch damage. This is separate. It's 20 damage every 0.25 seconds. There's really no other description about it. But yeah, that's nice. I like that it's not Scorch, because chances are more sources of Scorch are not usually going to be that important, honestly. So I kind of like that. It sounds fun. I haven't tried it yet, though. Swift Strike is gone for Hermes. Instead, now we have Nimble Limbs. Your attack, special, and cast are faster. So they combined them all into one boon, basically. The attack, the special, and the cast, although we didn't have a faster cast one. Instead, now that we have that. So, but that is separate from the Omegas, because now we have Nimble Mind. Your Omega moves are faster. But I like this a lot. I actually like this a lot more. Silver Streak got an increase of damage from Artemis. Easy Shot got an increase in damage. First Blood Egg got an increase in crit chance. Lethal Snare got an increase in crit chance. All these were pretty minor in terms of the numbers, I think. Kind of surprised that they touched all of them, to be honest. But yeah, really good buffs here overall. All right, we got through the boons. There's a lot of little stuff here, and I'm probably gonna skip the like some of the stuff that we don't really need to read that much. But we'll at least finish up what I would consider the important things, of course. Executioner's Chop with the axe no longer prevents you from striking if you have insufficient magic. That's just a nice thing, because if you didn't have enough, you just couldn't use the attack. Possessed Array for the Skull, rip in pieces. Blast Arm Retrieval effect now automatically uses some magic. I actually don't know how much magic this is, but it was totally busted. It was totally busted. It honestly makes sense. It's only 10 magic when you retrieve it? That's not bad. I hadn't looked at it. That's pretty good still. I think it's still busted then. I'm going to call it still busted then. Phase Shift. All right, so we got some big Selene changes, I would say. They are quite big. They might not sound big from a look, but what do you think, Grampy? You think they're big? Yeah, I think he thinks they're big. Reduced magic spend requirement on phase shift. Slightly reduced the effect duration. Fixed text incorrectly stating this duration. Now works versus Chronos with that incantation. Total Eclipse. Greatly reduced the magic spend requirement. Dark Side. Increased ability damage. Slightly reduced magic spend requirement. Lunar Ray. Greatly reduced magic spend requirement. Improved targeting using gamepad controls. It's like way less. It's like only 30 or 40 magic or something, I think. To get Lunar Ray back up. I think Total Eclipse too. It went from like 200 magic to, I'm not certain, like 80 or something. It got way down. Moonwater. Slightly reduced magic spend requirement. As part of these changes, you can no longer recharge hexes while their effects are still ongoing. So this is especially important for phase shift, which could get cheesy. Because if you use phase shift, you could start recharging the next phase shift while it's still going, essentially. So I think it kind of makes sense, especially now that phase shift works on Chronos. It would probably be too cheesy, but would have been fun. What can you do, though? Growth on Dark Side is new. Makes your Hex passive recharge over time. Preparation for Total Eclipse is new. Start encounters with your Hex partially charged. Extinction for Twilight Curse, reduce effectiveness. Upgrades of Sublime quality now also raise your Hex's recharge cost to compensate for many recharge costs having been reduced. Hexes should now be more usable throughout each night. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. So Sublime is the epic or the purple at the end of the path. I don't know how necessary this was, though, personally, but I think for Lunar Ray, maybe? It's just so hard to get to that end of that path, though, honestly. It's so hard. I don't know. It could be interesting, though. Breath of Eros is new for the Well of Charon, similar to the now cut Soft Caress. This causes the next instance of damage you would take to instead restore that much life. It's great. It's actually great, because it only costs like 15 gold or something, I think I saw. So, I mean, it's hard to manipulate. It didn't work with a Chaos K, which I was really disappointed by. But I still think that's pretty good, personally, because you block 10 damage and restore 10 health. Don't get hit on purpose, probably. I'd imagine, unless you know it's like up for a crazy amount of damage or something like that. All right, foes and encounters. Infernal Cerberus, various adjustments to better align how scary he is with how scary he looks. He is way faster now. Namely, the red circles I noticed come up and attack you way faster after he spawns them. It's kind of hard to tell everything else, but I think he's just faster overall. Charybdis, improved visibility in this encounter. I'm not certain about that change. I haven't really noticed it yet. Hippo, reduced how long they tend to retreat after attacking. That's the watery enemy that explodes in Oceanus. Harpy Talon, reduced frequency of Wind of Vortex attack. Heracles, reduced average number of foes you'll face in the encounter. And Icarus, reduced average number of foes you'll face in that encounter. Okay, you can now use Change of Fate to alter the reward versus Charybdis in the Rift of Thessaly. A certain location Tartarus no longer immediately fires a trap at Mel as soon as she enters. Oh, I actually didn't even notice that. I don't even know what chamber that could be talking about. But yeah, kind of weird that you can potentially... Oh, wait, you can now use Change of Fate to alter the reward versus Charybdis. Oh, okay. I swear this said something else earlier on when I was reading the patch notes, but maybe I'm crazy. Updated some prophecy fulfillment requirements based on above changes to boons. Yeah. Vow of Panic, reduced penalty to magic at the start of encounters. So that's only 50% now. So that's quite a bit more lenient, honestly. Quite a bit more. Menus and UI. Okay, I don't think we need to read all this. They added a lot of icons, though. There are tons and tons of new icons, but nothing else that impactful as far as I can tell. The victory screen is a little bit more readable, though. When you look at it, I think the damage numbers, like the DPS numbers, are a little bit better. So that's kind of nice to have there, I think. I think one of the big things, does it even say here? It's somewhere in the changes, though. It might be under miscellaneous or something. New visuals, new sound effects for mint condition is kind of nice for when it's about to expire. I don't know if I missed it or not, but I guess I'll just tell you that, yeah, the bat cages in City of Aphira now pause the timer if you look at them. Thank God for that. Thank God for that. I might miss reading it here, so I gotta say that out loud. That's really nice to have, honestly. Improved performance in the Rift of Thessaly. All timers now pause. Oh, there you go. While using the bat cages. I like it how it says all timers. Improved visibility of visual effects when Demeter is spurned in the Trial of Gods. I gotta say, it didn't feel that good. Like, it felt the same when I got her recently. Adjusted the names of several boons. I always wonder why that's the case. And then we have the bug fixes. There is a lot of stuff here. I don't recall anything that big here, honestly. This might be important. The deadliest attack of Kronos being easier to evade than intended, introduced in patch 2. Maybe they allowed us to use the iframes from the dash to avoid the damage, and they're fixing that or something? I'm not really sure, honestly. I don't know. Why don't I quickly glance through this? But yeah, nothing that crazy that I think is important enough to read here. I think we're kind of good from that. And if you want to check this stuff out, you are more than welcome to. I'll have a link in the description if you want to read it, of course. Wait. I just realized I said I was going to sum up my thoughts about the patch. Really great changes, I think, here. Honestly, like, I think the duo boon changes are amazing. I think I'm really happy with how they changed that. A lot of more duo boons just feel way more impactful now. I think the Scorch changes are amazing, and there's more to it than just, you know, more Scorch damage ticking, I think, there. I think the duos and the supplementary boons are actually great. Hephaestus feels a little bit better. I think that's all amazing. All these things, it makes the game, I guess, easier, you could say, in some ways, but it makes things feel a lot more level, I think, when you look at everything there. And plus, if you ever feel like the game's too easy, you can always up the fear, right? That's the way I look at it. But yeah, love the changes. Absolutely amazing. There's so much to experiment with already again. One thing I guess you could say that I was disappointed by is that we didn't really touch on Blitz from Zeus, and I kind of feel like Blitz needed a bit more love. All we got out of it, though, was simply that Blitz scales better with palms now. And I kind of feel like Blitz could use a little bit of help somewhere there. But I don't know. I guess we're going to have to wait on that and see what they think for the next patch. Although it might not happen until we get the next major content update. I don't know when it'll be. I'm afraid I have no idea. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Like, comment, subscribe, please, if you don't mind. If you want to get more Hades 2 stuff or roguelike stuff in general, I would appreciate it. Anyway, I'll see you in the next video.